Hello everyone, welcome to ACE Engineering Academy AP TRANSCO Marathon session. In this session, we are going to discuss important concepts in computer fundamental subject. So my point of view, this subject is very easy and it is a scoring subject, friends. Okay? In simple words, you have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of learning computer fundamentals in AP TRANSCO? Just imagine the situation, you employed as an employer, okay, you employed in the electricity department, you are working in the electricity department, then what is the purpose of learning this computer fundamental? Very simple, in daily basis you are collecting data, data is nothing but raw data which does not produce any information. That raw data you have to process in the proper way and you have to present in meaningful way, right? The first step is collecting raw data, like how many units of electricity consumed. You are putting all this data in the form of Excel sheet, right? And then you are performing some kind of calculations, that is called processing. Then you are presenting the data, right? So therefore, if we divide these three sections, collecting data, raw data, that is nothing but input. And computing calculations, that is nothing but processing, that is nothing but your CPU. Okay? And presenting data in a meaningful way, that is nothing but information, that is called output. So it is nothing but, computer is nothing but the collection of input, processing, that is CPU, and then output. So based on this, I divide this computer fundamental subject into 6 categories. Okay? So let me explain in an easy way and how these are useful in your daily way life of in your job. Okay? So let me explain now. The first part is like, we can say the CPU controls the input, process and output cycle. This is a computer fundamental organization. Very simple way you have to understand, friends. Okay? So suppose you are working in the electricity department, first you have to understand what are the input devices, what are the output devices, okay, what is CPU. So that's why first you have to learn what is CPU. CPU is a brain of the computer, okay, control processing unit, which is a brain of the computer, where CU stands for control unit. So which is coordinating among all the instructions. Like in engineering college, a principal will coordinate among the HODs to perform the actions in a proper way, right? In the same way, control unit will take the responsibility of controlling among all the instructions, okay? And ALU is nothing but arithmetic logic unit. For example, you are taking one Excel sheet, you are saying that there are 90 units consumed in one place A and 50 units consumed in one place B. You want to compute total how many units consumed in place A and place B together. Then what you have to do? You have to perform A plus B, right? That is called arithmetic logic unit responsibility, where it is performing calculations, okay? So this is a marathon course, that's why I want to introduce some important points. Afterwards, I will display the questions based on this, so that you will get more clarity about the topic, okay? So arithmetic logic unit is taking the responsibility for performing the calculations, okay? Control unit will coordinate among all the instructions and it is performing as a, like we can say, principal in engineering college, okay? So next one is registers, board and speed. You have to understand what is the purpose of registers, okay? Registers are useful to store data, and if you want to access the data in a faster way, there are some situations we have to access data in faster way, right? So frequently used data, whatever frequently used data, you want to store them in the register so that we can access them very faster way, okay? So that is registers. And also we need to discuss like board and how the speed, everything is, we'll discuss there. And next one is IPO, that is input, process, output. As I mentioned, in the examination point of view, they will ask what are the input devices, what are the output devices, okay? You have to list out all input and output devices. I'll explain questions, you will get more clarity, friends, okay? And then after learning these three, then next one is input and output device. In detail we have to discuss what are the input devices are there, what are the output devices are there. Like input means like keyboard, mouse, scanner, OCR, OMR, MICR. These are called input devices. Input is nothing but we are giving something to the computer to perform some certain actions. That's why how we are providing information through the keyboard, through the mouse, through the scanner, or OCR, OMR, or MICR. These are called input devices. Okay. In the exam, they may ask the question, which of the following is not a valid input device? Okay, which of the following is not a valid input device? In that case, compulsory you have to remember all input devices, friends. Okay. Similarly, output devices means after raw data is processing by the CPU, it is converting into meaningful information. That information must be shown somewhere in the device, right? That is called output device. I can say monitor. Through the monitor, we can see what is output is there. For example, if you perform 2 plus 3, result is 5. 5 will be displayed in the monitor. That is called output device. Okay. Or else we can use printer to see the document physically. Okay. Because if you see data on the monitor, that is called soft copy. Soft copy. If you want hard copy, you can use the printer. And speaker, sometimes maybe some blind people may be there, they want to listen the result, then you can use also speaker. Okay. Similarly, plotter also useful. They are output devices. Okay. Next, frequently tested devices, like we can say touch screen. Touch screen in your mobile is working like as a input as well as output device. Okay. Like in your iPad also we can use touch screen, right? So that's why it is input output devices. Next, hardware and software buses. Okay. So as I mentioned, you are taking input value, right? That is raw data. You are giving to the computer will process the data. While processing inside the computer, who will carry the data? Who will carry the data? There are certain buses are available. Data bus will always carry the data. Address bus, which will give the address of the particular location. Okay. Data bus, which will carry the data. Address bus, which is giving the address of the memory location. This is the way you can understand what are the buses inside the CPU. Okay. So first what we will do, so based on this topic, I will introduce some questions. Afterwards, I will go to module 2. So this is a module 2, like memory, backup devices and ports. This is a module 2. Afterwards, third module will discuss regarding Windows operating system, Explorer and shortcuts regarding this. Okay. And fourth module, like this is important for you because you are working in the electricity department, you are going to work in the electricity department. Compulsory there is an opportunity to work on MS Office, Word and Excel and then PowerPoint. So that's why you have to learn some shortcut points from here. Okay. Afterwards, we have to learn internet, email and e-banking also. Obviously, suppose if you want to communicate with someone who is sitting in the remote area, you need to use internet only, right? Okay. So in that case, compulsory you have to understand how internet is working, how email is working and what is e-banking. That is the fifth module. Okay. And the last module, this is the most important because you are working in the electricity department. అంటే మీరు ఒక విద్యుత్ సంస్థలో మీరు పనిచేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఆ సంస్థ యొక్క ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని మీరు కాన్ఫిడెన్షియల్గా ఉంచాలి. కాబట్టి అలా కాన్ఫిడెన్షియల్గా ఉంచాలంటే కంపల్సరీ మీకు నెట్వర్క్ సెక్యూరిటీ గురించి కూడా తెలిసి ఉండాలి, ఫిషింగ్ గురించి తెలిసి ఉండాలి. ఓకే. ఫిషింగ్ అంటే ఇట్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ లైక్ సమ్వన్ విల్ ఆస్క్ యూ లైక్ send me your bank details and send me your OTP like that. Okay. These kind of activities are called phishing. So all these things we'll discuss here. Okay. So first what I will do, because a marathon session, I don't want to waste your valuable time. So I'll take some questions from the first module, okay, like CPUs here. So after this, we'll go to the second module, friends. Okay, give me 1 minute time. Yes. So whatever first module I explained, from that module I created some questions. Okay, you please go through them. Which unit is called brain of the computer? Generally, brain of the computer doesn't mean that memory unit, friends. Okay, memory unit only useful to store the instructions or intermediate results. Okay, for example, if you ask me to compute a value is equals to 2, b value is equal to 3, if you want to compute a plus b value, then a value will be stored in the memory, b value will be stored in the memory, the intermediate result a plus b value also will be stored into memory. So that is the only purpose of memory unit. Where CPU is so it is acting as a brain of the computer, friends. Okay, as I mentioned, input unit to collect the raw data, okay, like keyboard, mouse and output unit is to display the processed input data. Processed input data is called information. Raw data is different, information is different. Output device always, output unit always producing information, okay, not raw data. Which part of the CPU performs calculations? Yes, who will perform calculations now? You know, control unit responsibility is to control among all parts of the CPU, like as a principal in engineering college, okay, or headmaster in a school, where registers are useful to store more frequently accessed data, okay. So if you store the data in a register, we can access very faster. Actually, register is inside the CPU only, okay, it is inside the CPU. Then ALU, it is arithmetic logic unit, which is really required for performing calculations. Calculation means like A plus B value. When A equal to 2, B equal to 3, what is A plus B means? That is performed by ALU, arithmetic logic unit. That's why imagine you are working in the electricity department, there is Excel sheet is available. In place A 90 units, place B 60 units they consume, then A plus B if you want to compute 90 plus 60. So in that case, who is performing the operation? Arithmetic logic unit. With the cache memory, okay, it is just close to CPU, it is not inside CPU, please understand, okay. Whatever instructions are more frequently executing, those instructions we can store into the cache. You may ask the difference between what is cache and registers. Registers are inside the CPU, friends, okay, whereas cache is very close to CPU, okay. First fast accessing will be done in the registers only. Afterwards we will go to the cache. This is order: register, cache. If you want, you can remember register, cache, and then RAM, and then hard disk. Hard disk means like we know, if you want to store data permanently, you are using hard disk, right? Like this is the order of accessing, fast accessing towards slow accessing. So first register will access data faster, okay, then cache memory, then RAM, and then hard disk, right, friends, okay. So for this question, which part of the CPU performed calculation means ALU performed the calculations. Next one. I think I need to give some time to analyze, but it's a marathon session. I don't want to waste your valuable time. Which of the following is an input device? Okay. So you have to take scanner, monitor, printer, speaker. Input means which are providing some raw data information to the computer. Tell me, by using monitor, can you provide information to the computer? No, it will display, right? Only by using scanner. Yes, by scanning the data, raw data, it will go to the computer. So that's why it is called input device. Remaining three are output devices. Okay. Which device is both an input and output device? Just now I mentioned keyboard only input device, mouse only input device, plotter is also only output device. This is touch screen is input and output device. Okay, input and output device. I hope I am not running fast. Okay. Next, which is the smallest and fastest storage inside the CPU? I will give 1 minute time, you can go through it and answer the question, friends. Okay. Right. So they are asking which is the smallest and fastest. Okay. Sorry, which is the smallest and fastest storage inside the CPU. Just now I mentioned whenever they are asking inside the CPU, you have to take it as a registers. Register only fast accessing will be done, friends. Okay. Cache is not inside the CPU, it is very close to CPU. Next, which bus carry memory addresses? As I mentioned, there are different types of buses are there. Data bus responsibilities, it will carry the data. Like when you provide A is equals to 2, B is equal to 3, that is called data. Who is carrying the data means data bus. But where we have to store the data, that information will carry by the address bus. Okay, address bus. So control bus will control among all the instructions. Okay, system bus also will control among all the system devices, friends. Okay. How many bits make 1 byte? In the class notes I mentioned like how many bits can make 1 byte and how many bytes can make 1 kilobyte, how many kilobytes can make 1 megabyte. Maybe it seems to be silly now, but in the examination they may ask the question, arrange these in the ascending order or arrange these are in the descending order. Then you have to understand bit to byte, kilobyte, megabyte, right? So everything you need to understand, friends. Okay. So how many bits make 1 byte means that equal to 8 bits. So which memory is volatile and loses data when power is switched off? It means you are working on the computer, suddenly power off. Then how the data will be erased, in which device the data will be erased? See here, they mention ROM, hard disk, CD and then RAM. Remember, data stored in RAM, read-only memory, hard disk and CD, they are permanent storage device, okay? Until unless you format them, they are still available, okay? So whereas the RAM is volatile. So these are non-volatile. ROM, hard disk, CD are non-volatile, whereas RAM is volatile. So whenever, as long as you are working the computer, the data which you mentioned that is stored into the RAM, the moment when power off is there, then automatically the data available in the RAM will automatically erased, okay? Cache memory is placed between the CPU and which component, they are asking, okay? Between CPU and which component? Obviously, cache memory, you take 1 minute and think about the solution, okay? Right. So clearly cache memory is placed between, as I mentioned, registers are inside the CPU, okay, but cache memory is just close to CPU between RAM and CPU, friends, okay, cache memory between RAM and CPU. So which storage device has no moving parts and is faster than HDD? So here I mentioned here which device having no moving parts. You can go through it. Magnetic tape is not having any moving parts, okay. You can remember this kind of data, okay. I have more number of modules are there, I want to rush now, okay. Best suited for cheap and large backup, there is a small correction, okay. You can see previous question, please see, which storage device has no moving parts and is faster than HDD. So obviously that moving parts means we say floppy is having, CD-ROM is having, SSD is having moving parts, no moving parts, friends, okay. So B is the correct answer for this. And then best suited for cheap and large backups means that is nothing but your magnetic tape, okay. You can pause the video, you can go through this one also because we have another 5 modules we need to cover. Which port is used by in a wired network? LAN. Obviously USB, HDMI, VGA, Ethernet, you have to understand each and every component, okay. You can say HDMI for video and audio recording purpose, okay. So Ethernet is useful for internet purpose, okay. That is LAN and WAN. So maybe they may ask this question, friends, okay, because mostly you are working in the internet, therefore they may ask the questions like this, okay. Remember this one. Ethernet is the correct answer for this wide area network. So loading operating system into memory when a computer start is called. The moment when you start the computer, operating system is loading, right? So then what we call among the options, we can say you take 1 minute and answer the question. Obviously it is booting, right? So which shortcut opens the file explorer in Windows? So file explorer, if you want which shortcut you can use, Windows C, right? You have to learn all these things, friends, okay. It is not the right time to explain each and every option. So Windows C, so explorer means you can remember it is E, so Windows E, Windows C shortcut method useful to open shortcut to open the file explorer, okay. Which key combination closes the active window or program? Suppose you are just opening one window, if you want to close that, then what you have to use? We have to use Alt F4. See why they will ask this type of question? Because if you understand the shortcut keys, automatically your work will be very faster, right? Okay. So after joining the electricity department, suppose you are working on application, if you want to make it the work is very faster, then you have to understand these shortcut points, right? Deleted files are temporarily stored in where? Suppose there is an important file you are working, suddenly you delete it, but later you realize that is the most important, then where you want to search that file, okay. Otherwise your boss will scold you, right? Yes. So deleted file will be stored into recycle bin, friends, okay. Shift delete, there is a confidential information and you are already using that information completely and you no more it is not required for you. In that case you can use shift delete to delete it permanently, okay. So F2 key is useful for to rename the file. So rename the selected file, right friends? Okay. Next, creating many personalized letters from one template and a list is called. Actually, one personalized email if you create and if you want to send to in the form of one common template, what does it mean? For example, your boss want to send mail to 10 people with a common template. Okay, your boss want to send one mail to 10 people with a common template. In that case, we can use mail merge. Okay, we can use mail merge. For example, you are an employer in a company. If you want to send offer letter to all employees who are employed in that company, in that case you have to use a common template, right? In that case we can use mail merge. Okay. Yeah. Which shortcut opens find and replace in MS Word? See here, I'm asking question. Shortcut opens, find and replace. It must find and it must replace in MS Word. So we can go through the options. You can try the answer ones. Okay. Can anyone answer in the live? Let me check what is the correct answer. Can you answer in the chat box? Anyone? Yeah, some of you answering it is option D. Some of you answering option A. Yeah. See, whenever they are asking find and replace, if they ask only find, you can use option A, friends. Okay. So find and replace means Control H you have to use. Okay. Option D is the correct answer. Am I right? Yes. Option D is the correct answer. No. Still, most of your typing is option A. No. I'm asking find and replace. If they ask only find, you can use Control F. It is only for find. Okay. This is only for find. If they want to ask find and replace, then suitable answer for this one is Control H. Right, friends? Okay. All right. Next, generally usually working in MS Excel. So MS Excel begins with, okay, which characters it is using. Every formula in MS Excel, which symbol it is using to begin. Okay. Can you answer in the chat box quickly? What is the option? Yeah, I'm observing through the desktop. Can you tell me what is the answer for this? Yes. In MS Excel, formulas always starting with assignment operator, that is equal to symbol. Okay, assignment operator. Yes. Next, it is a condition. The if function in MS Excel is used for what purpose we are using if function. Okay, that is a condition function. So just answer this question. Is it for sorting or printing or logical test or adding purpose? What purpose we are using if? In simple way, suppose you are having A equals to 2 and B equals to 3. I want to know who is the greatest number between these two. In that case, generally you are using if, right? Generally how we are writing program, if A greater than B, then who is the greatest number? A is the greatest number, right? And if the condition fail, we can say B is the greatest number. That is nothing but logical test purpose we are using. Okay, if is useful for logical test purpose. Which sign is used to make a cell reference absolute in MS Excel? Can you answer this question? Anybody? Which sign is used to make a cell? So I'm checking your answers. Yes. Most of your answering it is B. Yes, B is the right answer. Okay. In Excel, you know, I clearly explained the class also. Collection of worksheets. Excel is nothing but a collection of worksheet, and each worksheet is a collection of cells. Is it clear? Each worksheet is a collection of cells. So, for the cells reference purpose, you are using dollar symbol. Option B is the correct answer. Okay, option B is the correct answer. Which key starts a PowerPoint slide shows from the beginning? Okay, so for example, here I am using slides. Suddenly, like if you want to start from the beginning, which key we have to use? Can you type your answer, friends? In PowerPoint, if you want to take slide shows, and if you want to start from the beginning, which key we have to use? Answer please. Yes, some of you are answering it is F5, F1. Is it correct? F5. Most of you are typing it is F5. Right. Yes. Okay. No, F12 is not correct. Right. So, this kind of questions you can expect. So, let me go back to that one. Again, we will come back and discuss this question. Yes. So, here I explained this is a first module regarding computer input and the CPU and then output, right? And the second model regarding like, which I already mentioned earlier, like students should understand difference among kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes and then petabytes. Okay. So, this is a sequence, this is a shortcut points, I can say micro notes. I kept complete computer fundamentals only in 7 slides. If you go through these 7 slides, that's enough to answer all questions, friends. Okay. I can say these are micro notes. Okay. These seven slides are giving complete information. So, next if we take RAM versus ROM, as I mentioned, RAM is volatile and ROM is non-volatile. Okay. So, volatile means automatically the information will be erased once the computer is power off. Okay. Next, memory hierarchy, as I mentioned, register to first register fast action, afterwards cache, then RAM and then secondary storage devices. Okay. Secondary storage device means hard disk. They are important key points, like here you can understand HDD, SSD and optical media. So, HDD is a magnetic with moving parts, it is having moving parts, friends. Okay. And SSD is having no moving parts. So, this point also I explained earlier. Okay. SSD is having no moving parts, please understand SSD is not having any moving parts, whereas HDD is magnetic with moving parts are available. Okay. And you can understand CD, DVD, Blu-ray or optical devices. Next, backup purpose you can take magnetic tape, sequential, and it is economical also, very cheap. Okay, cheap and low cost price purpose you can use magnetic tape. Right, friends. Okay, ports point of view, as I mentioned, USB, HDMI, VGA. If you want, you can remember like USB, it is general purpose. You know why you are using USB. And HDMI means audio and video purpose. VGA video purpose. RJ45 only internet LAN purpose. And PS2 like keyboard and mouse connection purpose. And then 3.5 mm, that is audio jack. Okay, 3.5 mm. They are only components, friends. So, in the first slide we understood what is input, what is output, what is input unit, what is output unit, what is a processing CPU. Clear, friends. Okay. Here we understood different types of components inside that, RAM, ROM and HDMI cable, everything we understood here. Okay. Then the third slide, that is Windows OS. Okay, Windows OS. There are some shortcut points. Here also I clearly explained what is OS. Okay. So, just go through this one, and OS is a system software that manages hardware, memory and files programs. Okay. Booting loads the OS. We already answered one question, right? Whenever we switch on, booting will load the OS. Then graphical user interface, GUI and Windows desktop. Here I explained some important icons, you please go through them, friends. Okay. Once the session is over, you can go through them because they are micro nodes. Here I explained about file explorer and anatomy. Okay, so when you open the file explorer, what are the different types of tabs are available, because we don't have enough time to discuss everything. That's the reason I kept everything. What is the left pan, what is the right pan, what is the bottom pan, everything explained here. Okay, next, delete versus recover. Also, you know, recycle bin is we can recover, whereas shift delete permanent deleting. So core editing purpose, yes, these are important point of, for example, Control C, Control X, Control V, these are shortcut key points. Okay, and Control A, Control S, Control P, Control F. You know, Control C is for copy, right? And Control X means we can cut the value, cut the data. V means paste purpose. Here everything I mentioned, copy, cut and paste. Similarly, Control Z and Y. So suppose if you perform any action, and if you want to undo that action, you can use Control Z. Okay, redo means Control Y. These are essential shortcut key points. You compulsory have to remember them. They will ask mostly, they will ask question only from this part, friends. Okay, these 7 slides, whatever 7 slides are there, definitely you will get good marks from by using only these 7 slides. Okay, like A is for Control A, select, Control S, save, Control P, print purpose, Control F, find purpose. Okay, and Windows and function keys, you know, Windows plus C means Windows Explorer, it will open. Alt F4 means close the current window, right? Alt tab, switch between the what we call, suppose multiple windows or multiple tabs are opened, then by using Alt tab we can switch from one tab to another tab. And F2 rename purpose, F5 which is refresh purpose, Windows plus D. If you want to see the desktop, suppose you are working one file explorers, directly if you want to go for Windows desktop, you can use Windows plus D, and Windows plus lock, so to lock the system. Okay, suppose you are working on a confidential information, and suddenly there is maybe an important call, you have to move away from the workstation. So before moving away from the workstation, you can use Windows L to automatically lock the system. Okay, so these are important Windows OS Explorer and shortcut key points. Next, MS Office point of view, friends. Okay, MS Office point of view, all shortcut key points explained here. Just observe. So Control L, E, R, J. So these points you have to understand. What is the purpose of Control L, Control E, Control R, Control J? Alignment purpose we are using these key points. Okay, Control B, I, U. You know, B means bold, I means italic, U means underline. Everything shortcut methods mentioned here. Okay, and now Word always creating recent files .docx. Okay, dot means if you want to take MS Word file, it is saving with .docx, docx. MS Word file will be saved in the computer by using .docx. Next, Windows PowerPoint tool. Yes, PowerPoint tool like mail merge personalization, many letters, Control H replace the text. Please remember this important comments only I mentioned the slides. Okay, F7 for spelling check, because while working in the real time as an employee, so what you have to do after making one mail, you want to check any spelling mistakes are there or not, right? In that case you can use F7. F7 check spellings, track the changes, records whatever you are there. Okay, please go through them. And Excel shortcut points also mentioned here. Excel file is .xlsx, remember that point also. Okay, so that's all about here. Next, Excel formulas. As I mentioned, Excel formulas, like it is always starting with the equal to symbol. Maximum they will ask formulas based on sum, average, max, min, because while calculating like how many units of electricity consumed, then you have to perform something, sum of all units and average of all units and maximum and minimum, like that. Who consumed maximum electricity units, who consumed minimum electricity units, like that. Okay, next, count, if just now I explained, right, that is logic unit. Next, Excel, that's all. These are important points. Yes, there are some important points as you mentioned. F5 for the starting from the beginning. Okay, so shift F5 starts from the current slide. Clear, friends? Okay, just go through all these, friends. Transition between the slides. Okay, please go through all these points, we can understand. So up to this part I already covered by using MSQ questions, friends. Okay, so next module is, so can you respond in the chat box if you really like this one, everything, can you type L in the chat box? I hope I am not running fast, because this time is very important for you. That's why I created 7 slides only, which is covering essential topics. Okay, so before the examination, just if you revise these topics, that's enough, friends. Okay, if you really like this presentation, simply type L in the chat box, in the comment. Can you type? Can I expect response in the comment box? I hope I am not running very fast. Can I expect more number of L's? You do only one thing just before the exam, like 1 hour time is there. In that case, just open the 6 slides, go through the 6 slides, friends. I am sure that definitely you'll get marks only from this type of questions, friends. Okay. Right. Let me continue. Yeah. The next module is regarding internet, email, e-banking. So before in looking at that, first you have to understand like what is email and who is taking the responsibility for that. Suppose you are preparing one mail, friends. Okay. If you are preparing one mail, then the moment when you press the send button, that mail will reach to the recipient, right? So for example, your boss, whoever is there, then internally what is happening? Who is taking responsibility of this? There are some protocols are there. Protocols means set of rules. Protocols means set of rules. Suppose if you want to transfer file, there are certain rules are there. Those rules are there available in FTP, file transfer protocol. If you want to transfer file, the set of rules designed inside the protocol is called file transfer protocol. Similarly, if you want to send mail, either Gmail, whatever it may be, all those rules are designed inside SMTP, okay, simple mail transfer protocol. So like that, at least some keywords you have to understand, friends. Okay, what is SMTP, what is FTP? So these are the types of words you have to understand. For example, you prepared one mail, you want to send mail to the your boss, okay, your boss. In that case, if you want to keep higher authorities also, then you can make the mail as blind copy to the higher authority. In that case, you can use something like CC, that is carbon copy, and BCC. Okay, so that point also you have to understand clearly, friends. Okay, please look at here. So internet is a global network that routes like www. So maybe in the exam they may ask what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. Remember, whenever you are opening any website, it should be HTTPS only, Secure Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, remember, you always use HTTPS, friends. Okay, what is the purpose of DNS? DNS is nothing but domain name system. For example, if you take telephone directory, now no one is using telephone directory. Once upon a time, what is happening? Whoever is having landline phone, for those people, they are maintaining one directory. Okay, in the directory, left side name of the person, right side is phone numbers. So that is called telephone directory, like Srinivas or something landline number. In the same way, google.com is a name. That google.com name is also having one number, that is called IP address. Generally, we cannot remember IP address, right? We can remember only google.com. So that's why you are typing simply www.google.com. But in fact, it should map to its corresponding IP address. Correct? Instead of remembering phone number, it is easy to remember person name, right? Person name. In the same way, instead of remembering IP address, it is easy to remember website address, website name. So if you want to take google.com, okay, so the moment if you write google.com, then automatically it is converted into its corresponding IP address. Who will take that responsibility means that is DNS, domain name system. Okay, so maybe they may ask question based on this also. Okay, and what else here? Yeah, you please understand what is expansion of URL. They may ask question based on URL. Please go through that expansion of URL. This is most important. See, whenever you type something like sba.securelogin.com, please, I think it is visible. I'm reading SBA. I want to explain this point very slowly because it is related to security point of view. So sba.securelogin.com. So in this, what is a domain? Actually, what is a domain is nothing but securelogin.com is a domain, friends. Okay, SBA is not the domain. Please understand that is subdomain. Okay, so whenever you are opening SBA website, if it is not there securelogin.com, then you do not believe that one. Okay. So next one, HTTPS. S stands for Secure Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Suppose if S is not there, it is not what we call, it is not HTTPS is nothing but it is encrypting the data. That's why it is secured protocol. Okay, only if you use HTTP, it is not a secured protocol. Next, what are the email protocols? As I mentioned, SMTP is email protocol. POP3. So POP3 what purpose? Download purpose. SMTP sending the mail. POP3 is nothing but download purpose. Okay. Maybe they don't ask like, because this is somewhat technical words, they don't ask like this. Just remember then, friends. Okay. POP3 and IMAP. And banking point of view, like you have to understand UPI pin. One time they may there is a possibility of asking the question, what is the expansion of UPI? Okay, please try to understand what is the expansion of UPI. Okay, what is U, what is P, what is I? Please learn from that one also. Okay. Yes, this is the last slide, I think 6. Afterwards we will discuss questions based on this, friends. Okay. So based on the network size, it is categorized into different types. For example, if you are working in any your personal laptop, that is called personal area network, PAN, personal area network. Suppose you have some office, in that office there are 20 systems or 30 systems are there. So therefore, first one, if you are using by yourself, that is called personal area network. In your office there are 30-40 systems are connected, that is called local area network. Okay, local area network. In your city whatever network is there, that we are calling it as a metropolitan area network, MAN. Suppose personal area network only one system is available, local area network more than one system, that is 10 systems, maybe metropolitan network, that is hundreds or thousands of systems. This is wide area network. Generally your internet is related to wide area network. Your internet is related to wide area network. Okay. Next, topology point of view. Topology means like how the systems are connected. If you see some offices, okay, some office rooms, if you observe, systems are connected one after another like this. That is called bus topology. Topology means మీకు తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే అమరిక అని చెప్పొచ్చు. ఎలా అమర్చి ఉన్నాయంటే ఒక్కదాని తర్వాత ఒకటి ఉంటే అది బస్ టోపాలజీ అని చెప్తాం. ఓకే, మీరు కొన్ని కంపెనీలు ఎలా ఉంటాయంటే రౌండ్గా ఉంటారు, సో రౌండ్ రింగ్ టోపాలజీలా తీసుకుంటాం అన్నమాట దాన్ని. ఓకే, సో కొన్ని కంప్యూటర్స్లో ఏంటంటే ఒక స్టార్ షేప్లో ఉంటాయి, దట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ స్టార్ టోపాలజీ అని చెప్తాం. సో కొన్నిట్లో మెష్ టోపాలజీ ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ ది స్ట్రక్చర్ ఆఫ్ ది నెట్వర్క్ వీఆర్ డివైడింగ్ దమ్ ఇంటూ కేటగిరీస్ లైక్ వాట్ వీ కాల్ star topology, mesh topology, ring topology, bus topology. Which is more reliable means mesh topology. Why mesh topology is reliable means, so one system is connected to all other systems. That's why even one system get failed, from the remaining systems you can get the information. That's why mesh topology is more reliable, but it is very costly. I am not expecting any question from that kind of topology part. Okay, but remember that work. Okay, next. What is the purpose of hub? What is the purpose of switch? What is the purpose of router? You are using router in your home also, right? You have to learn the responsibility of hub, switch, router. Suppose I am delivering the speech. It is reaching to everybody. That is called broadcast message. For broadcast purpose, we are using hub. Is it clear, friends? Okay. So then, what is the purpose we are using switch? What is the purpose you are using router? You can go through all those points. Okay. Next, yeah. So you have to understand, as I mentioned, protocols means set of rules, that's all. What is the difference among virus, worm and Trojan? Actually, worm is nothing but it do not require any medium to transfer one place to another place. It is independently moving from one place to another place. But virus is not like that, okay? It need medium from moving one place to another place. Suppose if I am having cold and someone is also standing beside me, so there is a possibility to transfer this cold allergy to that person by touching his hand, something like that. Some kind of medium is there. So you have to understand what is a virus, what is worm, what is Trojan. Okay, difference also among important. Here everything I mentioned here. Virus needs a host. Compulsory someone should be there to transfer this. Okay, whereas worm spreads alone. It independently can spread. Right, friends? Okay. Trojan look like genuine and it does not self-replicate. Okay, please go through that one also. Yeah, one more is that is firewall. Actually, firewall is filtering the networks, friends. Okay, it will it will control the traffic also. Okay, it will control the traffic. Okay, let me see what are the questions based on this topic. That's all. These are 6 modules. I covered all modules, friends. Okay, I am so happy. But let me discuss some questions. Yes, we are here. PowerPoint slides. So this is already completed. Which key starts PowerPoint slide from the beginning? You already mentioned, many of you told it is F5. Okay. Next, which features controls the common formatting of all slides? Okay. So maybe you have to understand this one, that is slide master. Slide master will control all these things. Okay, read the question 1 minute. Which feature controls the common formatting of all slides? That is slide master. See, I am providing 2 PPTs here. One is MCQ PPT, that is multiple choice question PPT. Another one is micro notes, which is useful to cover all topic within 30 minutes or 40 minutes, friends. Okay. So, which is the main job of DNS? Domain name system. Just now you understood, right? What is the purpose of domain name system? Sending email? No. Sending email, who will take responsibility? SMTP. Blocking virus? No. Convert website name into an IP address? Yes, this is the responsibility of DNS. Alright, friends. Okay. Are you understanding everything? For my satisfaction, could you please type U in the chat box if you understood the topics? Type U. Please type U in the chat box if you understood. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, let me continue this one. HTTPS sba.securelogin.com verify. So, what is the real website domain? As I mentioned, real website domain is not SBA, friends. Okay, real website domain is securelogin.com is a real website domain. Please understand. Okay, securelogin.com is a real website domain. This is a subdomain. SBA is a subdomain. Okay. Next, HTTP protects data in transit main only by. So, how it is protecting the data? HTTPS, obviously HTTPS protecting the data by encrypting. You know what is the meaning of encrypting, right? Okay. So, for example, in the place of, if you want to send data A, B, C, D, A is encoded with 1, B encoded with 0, C encoded with something like. So, it will be converted into some encrypted data, which is more secure, friends. Okay. So, HTTP is always sending encryption format. An easy way to remember the purpose of SMTP. SMTP just now I mentioned, right? So, that is simple mail transfer protocol. What purpose we are using? Sending mail purpose. Okay, you are sending mail. If you want to download the mail, then we are using POP3. Okay, POP3. So, POP3 for downloading the mail and sending mail is nothing but SMTP. So, simple mail transfer protocol. So, S stands for send. You can remember like this. Okay. Easy way to remember that. In BCC, the letter B is the best remembered as. So, is a blind version, hidden. Suppose I want to your boss has given some work to you. Okay, so your work is completed. Then you want to give the reply to your boss. You are giving reply to your boss. Maybe your boss may be hiding information that he may say that no, I didn't get any information like that. In that case, in the BCC, you can also give one mail to the management. Okay, so that is a useful way to communicate in BCC. So what I'm trying to say, blind mail is nothing but very simple, friends. Let me explain more clearly. Suppose you are a team member, team leader is there, and team manager is also there. Suppose your team leader has assigned some work to you. What you have to do? The work is completed. You are sending that mail. Yes, my work is completed. In that case, in the to address, you have to mention your team leader mail ID. In BCC, you can give your project manager mail ID. So that is blinded. Okay, clear, friends? Okay. Next, what does phishing means? Yeah, as I mentioned already, phishing is nothing but a fake message. That's all. Fake message. Please go through it. Okay. So you must transfer 6 lakh for a property. What is the usual choice you are taking? Can you send 6 lakhs by using UPI? Can you use cash by post or check only? Which one generally you are using? RTGS. Okay, you have to understand full form of what is RTGS, what is NEFT, what is IMPS. Okay, what is UPI. I'm repeating once again. Please safe side. You can understand complete full form. What is UPI full form? What is RTGS full form? What is NFTS full form? What is IMPS full form? Okay, these 4 full forms you have to remember, friends. Okay, IMPS full form also. Money can be sent by using UPI, IMPS. Okay, or else RTGS or NEFT. UPA pin is needed too. So what is the purpose of UPA pin is needed? Obviously, to receive the money, UPA pin is required, friends. No, UPA pin is not required for receiving the money. Charge your phone, no, it's not required. Open the app is not required. Obviously, to send money out of your account, UPA pin is required. That's if someone is asking your UPA pin, don't share your UPA pin, friends. Okay. The internet is best classified as a which type of network? As I mentioned, internet. Internet what purpose? Is personal area network, local area network, metropolitan area network, or wide area network? Wide area network, right? So that's the answer is wide area network. I know I am going a little bit fast because it's a marathon course, okay? So which networking device broadcasts incoming data to all connected ports? If you want to send data to all connected ports, then which one means? Obviously it is hub. Like in your villages, they are using one mic, right? They are announcing. That is called broadcasting message. It is reaching to everybody. If you want to tell some secret, okay, that is unicast. Like only one person, intended person only can listen that message. Which topology is the most common today? So which topology they are most common means nowadays generally star topology they are using common. Okay, they don't ask this type of question, just only to give the idea about different types of topology I mentioned, but they don't ask question based on this, friends. Okay. So which network topology is considered as the most reliable? Most reliable means even one system lost the connection, still network is propagating. Who is that means? Obviously mesh topology. Mesh topology. So that's all about remaining which device forward data only to the intended device with it. Okay, you can go through this one. Okay. So which malware self-replicate? That is nothing but just now I explained self-replicate. It self-replicate means that is a worm. It do not require any medium. It do not require any medium. See which malware self-replicates and spreads without needing a host file. Without needing host file means obviously worm. Okay. So which security tool guards incoming and outgoing network traffic? Who is guarding? Which security tool guards incoming and outgoing? So obviously firewall. Firewall, friends. Okay. Firewall guards incoming and outgoing packets. Yeah. So whatever topics I covered so far, for quick revision point of view, I created 5 multiple choice questions also. I know I am not wasting your time. Okay, almost 1 hour is over. Quick revision point of view. So here I mentioned what is ALU, what is control unit, what is input unit, what is output unit. Here match the following questions. You have to go through this type of questions also, friends. Okay. So I am not explaining now. If you want, I can explain also. Okay. ALU means arithmetic logic unit. What is the purpose of arithmetic logic unit, friends? So perform the calculations. Arithmetic logic unit, perform the calculations. Even if you attend today's session itself, you will score good number of marks because we covered all topics. Control unit. What is the purpose of control unit? Means directs and coordinates the operations. Directs and coordinates the operations. Input unit. What is the purpose of input unit? Accepts the data and instructions. What is the output unit, friends? Simply present processed result. Processed result means that is called information, as I mentioned. Okay. So these are match the following. I hope you understood, right? ALU, control unit, input unit, and output unit. Okay. Next, what is the purpose of HDMI, Ethernet, PS2? I'll wait 1 minute. Can you go through it once? Yeah, I hope it is completed, right? HDMI, video and audio purpose. So video and audio purpose, okay. HDMI, video and audio purpose. Ethernet, that is wide area LAN network purpose. PS2, that is for, please excuse me, it is for connection of keyboard and mouse. And 3.5 mm audio jack, that is speakers and headphones. Am I right, friends? Okay. Next, Windows C, Alt F4, Shift Delete F2. take 1 minute and quickly make it, friends. Okay. Windows C. What is the purpose of Windows C? Can I say file, open File Explorer? Yes. Alt F4. What is the purpose of Alt F4? Can I say delete permanently? No. Rename selected files? No. Then what is the purpose? Close active window, right? Shift delete is nothing but delete permanently. F2, that is nothing but rename. Okay, F2 is what is the purpose, means rename. Even if you attend today's session, you will score more number of marks. Yeah. What is the purpose of MS Word, MS Excel, MS PowerPoint, mail merge? Okay, just go through them. Right. Generally, if you want to prepare mail, you can use MS Word, right? And if you want to if you want to perform any calculations, then we can use MS Excel. MS PowerPoint, what is the purpose? That is slide presentation purpose. Mail merge, word processing purpose. Okay, word processing purpose. Am I right, friends? Okay. Yes. Go to this one, DNS, SMTP, IMAP and firewall. Yes, what is the purpose of DNS? You know, DNS converts a website name to IP address, right? SMTP sends outgoing email. IMAP, firewall automatically guards the network traffic, and IMAP keeps the mail synced across the devices. Okay, across the devices it will sync the mail. You remember them? So, my dear friends, knowingly, unknowingly, if you do any kind of time waste for this marathon session, please excuse us. But the main objective of this one is only to complete the syllabus very quickly by providing some kind of micro notes. Okay. So, one small announcement for you, like this is a new course launch, APPSC-AEE, that is Industrial Promotion Officer. Okay, it's a 3 months, 6 months course and 12 months course is also available. If anybody want to join, you can join by scanning this QR code. Okay. So, this is one important point I want to announce. This is a QR code. Scan QR code for registration purpose. And what is the purpose of this one? APPSC-AEE. Okay, Industrial Promotion Officer. Okay. This is one. So, another one is, yeah, this is AP GENCO and TRANSCO and DISCOMs AEE. So, electrical engineering. So, we can scan this QR code and you can join this course if you want. Online mega mock test. This is, sorry, it is not a course, it is a mock test. Yeah, I wish you all the best. God bless you all. Thanks for giving me for this opportunity. Okay, thank you so much.